The Singapore Grand Prix, Formula One's original night race, took place this past weekend, with George Russell taking the 5th win of his career and Max Verstappen completing a defensive masterclass for 27 laps, leaving him in 2nd. Lando Norris finished off the podium in 3rd. Welcome back to Penn State Sports Tonight. I'm Marina Contreiras, joined by Sydney Coxe and Parker Mirzayan. Girls, round 18, Singapore. There's a lot to talk about. What were some of your highlights? What were some of your major takeaways going into this final stretch of the season?
My biggest highlight was Max's performance with a car that disagrees with him. He was very angry on comms. He was not happy with that car. However, he was able to manage it to get P2, and that I did not think so. I thought Norris had him and was hunting him down. Additionally, Stroll's stint on the softs, I know he was going slow, but it's just impressive that you were able to last for 30 plus laps on a soft tire in Singapore. And Carlos Sainz, we see you going up 10 positions from a disqualification. I was just so impressed. I was very happy.
And they barely mentioned it.
I know.
They barely talked about that on the radio.
They were focused heavily on Norris and Piastri.
They barely talked about anything that was happening in the back of the grid.
Yeah, they just disappeared. They were just in the back.
They really did.
They really did focus. And I feel like that's been a theme of this year, of the directors, people complaining about the direction on TV of we're watching things that don't really matter, where there's back to back, or we're flashing to people's girlfriends when there's action on track.
Yes.
Come on, guys.
Just the concerned face.
Something that they really did talk about, though, for a bit, was George Russell out in front. Because, look, he did take his 2nd win this season, and it was 5th win of the year, but he did have a really good weekend in comparison to the McLarens. The Ferraris did not really make a statement this weekend, which is something that I was a little shocked about, because I thought they were going to have a little something, even though they haven't really had something all season. And as a Ferrari fan, that kind of hurts. But yeah, he took a win this season, or this weekend, which I don't think a lot of people were expecting. If anything, I thought Kimi was going to show out a little more. But that was something that I really kind of took away from this weekend, just how strong that George was able to come up, because we see him taking 3rd a lot, whether it's behind the McLarens, behind Max and a McLaren, whoever, but we don't really get to see him shine as much, and I mean, he was a little overshadowed again, but...
Yeah, well, like you said, although George did take home the win, McLaren, both figuratively and literally, had their moment on the podium, taking home the Constructors, clinching. I think this is actually the earliest a Constructor has ever clinched a title with 6 races left to go. What were your standout performances kind of throughout the season, and how do you view these team dynamics going forward between George and Oscar's side of the garage?
I think something we really have to talk about is just how far ahead they were of some of these other teams. You have 2 top drivers that really just ran away with these points. They were 650, something like that, compared to Mercedes, Ferrari, Red Bull. And I mean, you have 2 good drivers in George and Kimi at Mercedes. You have 2 good drivers, but not a good car over at Ferrari. You have Max doing really well, but an iffy 2nd driver situation at Red Bull. But then you have Oscar and Lando, who are both fighting for that driver title now. But now, championship for the team is done. Now you're looking for that one title, and this comes into the question where, are they going to let them fight? And I think in the beginning of the race, they were even talking about, this title isn't clinched right now. But they were letting them fight already. They were fighting. They didn't have the championship at the beginning of the Singapore Grand Prix, but they were still fighting.
I mean, my take on the McLaren championship is, who cares? Actually, who cares? I'm sorry. It was expected. It's whatever. I think the real interesting part of that race was how the dynamics will shape up, because, like you mentioned, I think the reason why Piastri was so put off by Norris's more risky driving and more aggressive driving was because he just didn't expect for the roles to change that quick.
Yes.
And I think if he had known, okay, yeah, drive however you want, do your thing, it would have panned out differently. Plus, getting almost nudged into the wall by your teammate would make anybody a little upset. I don't think Norris was necessarily in the wrong.
Whether it was blocking or not, that's a whole other conversation, because I heard that was blocking. I said, okay, I don't think that's blocking. Racing incident, just hard driving, whatever. But I don't think it was blocking.
I personally think it was just racing.
Yes.
I mean, if you go 30 years back, no one's going to look at an incident like this and go, you can't do that.
No.
Wait, because you're racing for the championship.
Tight.
Obviously, you're going to be a bit more aggressive.
Yes. I think there's absolutely no one in the wrong in this situation, except for maybe McLaren, because honestly, I think the papaya rules have created a situation with so much tension where it's Oscar's not necessarily wrong in to say, hey, that wasn't fair. He literally collided with me. Granted, he wasn't in the wall. They both kind of, regained their positions or whatever, but it was very aggressive from Lando. I want to briefly, still on this topic, talk about this podium situation. McLaren had their moment to celebrate on the podium. However, Oscar was not there. In fact, Oscar watched this happen from the media pen on the TVs. I was gutted for him. Whether or not it was intentional, I don't know. I don't think it was from the McLaren side, but it was kind of like, why wouldn't you at least try and get him there? But I don't know what you guys thought about that situation.
I think that he obviously had some of the media duties he had to attend to, but at the same time, it's like, why would you not at least recognize him? And I think that goes back to the part where it's like, it's that team aspect, but it's like, is it really truly McLaren versus Lando versus Oscar at this point, and not like the team versus just everybody else? And that really worries me as to where the future of this team is going. Because I think last year when you saw it was like Lando versus Max, and then it was like Oscar was willing to help out that dynamic, it was a lot different. And so I'm really worried as to where this is going to go for the future, because Oscar is, I think, just ready to fight at this point.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, constructors aside, we got to congratulate McLaren for that one. But on the driver's end, it's still up for grabs. Like I said, 6 races to go. You've got Max kind of in the picture. I want to know, how do we think these new team dynamics, papaya rules are apparently out the window in Singapore? How far are they going to take this? Is it going to the end? And who's your pick?
I worry for McLaren if they, if Norris and Piastri get in this idea of fighting with each other so much that they disregard Max. Because yes, Max is a long shot, but again, he has done it. Mm-hmm. He has succeeded before in long shot situations. So I think he'll just slip through the cracks if they keep on fighting each other. I do, however, think that if they are going to be fighting each other, Piastri is going to take it. I think that he is a stronger driver, and I think that he is stronger mentally.
I agree with you. I think Piastri is going to be the one to take it. I don't think Lando's out of that fight, obviously, because between the two, they're obviously teammates. They're going to have similar strategies. They're going to have similar ways of going about it. But I think we have seen that Oscar is more resilient, and he kind of keeps his cool a lot more. And I also like that last year, after the championship battle was over, Lando got more cool with his driving, and he got more relaxed. But I don't think we can count out this guy that's creeping into the picture, because Max, even though it is technically still possible for him to come into the picture, I don't think he's going to win it. But he's the disruptor. Yeah. He likes to come in and fight. He likes to come in and sneak those points in. And whether it's second, whether it is a win, whatever it is, he likes to disrupt. He likes to fight, and he's a heavy hitter. So I think he's definitely up there in for contention, whether it's a win, points. I don't think it's a championship, but I think Piastri's going to be the one to take it in the long run.
Absolutely. I think they also need to be careful about deserting one driver and ending up with a Max splitting them. It's not the worst case scenario for them. It is internally going to be difficult moving forward, but we're just going to have to wait and see as we approach the end of the calendar. And papaya rules are officially, I guess, deserted in Singapore. The Drivers' World Championship fight continues on. Can Oscar hold on to his 22-point lead, or will Lando or Max take the crown? We'll have to wait and see. For Sydney Coxe and Parker Mirzayan, I'm Marina Contreiras, and thank you for watching Penn State Sports Night.
Hey everybody, thanks for tuning into this edition of Penn State Sports Night.
For more content like this, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, give us a like, and follow our socials down below.
And as always, we are
Penn State Sports Night.